Bryce 4. So I'm dropping Turner out. I'm putting Stott up. Turner 5, and I actually think Turner could take advantage of maybe more home runs he's hit this year, but less average. I think he could knock some runs in with some power in the 5 spot. Baun 6, Marsh 7, JT 8, Crawford 9. So it's Schwarber, Stott, Harper, Arise guys. Just stack them at the top.
Yeah, but to your point, last night nobody brought their bats last night. It was just a tough spot to be in. But I get it. He's the guy that he's been there. He's been mostly.
It's been all year. I mean, it has been absolutely all year. 215-592-9494. Let's hear Don Mattingly after the game last night on Trea Turner and what he's seeing with his shortstop.
Obviously a guy that's struggling right now. They got pretty good pitching over there. I've seen these guys a lot in the last few years, and that's a staff that you're not swinging good. You're in a little bit of trouble. So just running into good pitching, but obviously I think just for me in general, Trea just out there too far. You know, it's not letting the ball get to him. Not getting any good counts at all.
I got to believe that those are your guys. And you know what?
You also have to use your eyes, though, right?
He came short of baseball card.
Oh, yeah. I would have had Mattingly removed from his office today if he said that.
He said that.
How about the back of his baseball card this year?
And you know what? I will say this, especially dealing with this team for as many years as we've been dealing with them, Joe, it's – They have their moments where they go through their lulls and they work their way out of it. And I would say Trea is no different. You know, and
but
you
he hasn't
have
got out of it this whole season.
Yeah,
right?
It's been a tough one, no question about it.
At what point of a season do you stop expecting? Let me use an example to the Eagles. Last year we kept talking about the offense having improved, right? When we got to December, did you actually think they were going to improve? Or that was last year's Eagles offense? I feel like I remember you saying this is what they are this year.
Yeah, it felt like that because you.
So Trea might be this year's Trea. September is around the corner.
Yeah. But you've seen spurts from other guys, so that's why I think you kind of hold out hope. And then you've seen teams, to Trea's point a few weeks ago, you see teams that get hot around this time, and they go on a tear.
Yeah, you're too hopeful. I
ain't got no other choice but to be.
You do have a choice.
I don't.
Real.
No, I don't. Realistic?
Yeah.
Nah.
Okay.
Nah.
Thank you for admitting that.
No,
realistic? No, not doing it.
No, because when you talk about realistic expectations, just revisionist history. When you go and think of the Eagles, that first Super Bowl run with a backup quarterback who came in and played the way that he did in that game against the Atlanta Falcons. Who would have thought that he would have, lifted his game and take them all the way to the Super Bowl?
Sure, but they had no other choice. That's what I mean.
That's what I'm saying. But now you get what I'm saying.
The Phillies the Phillies could drop in the lineup. They have, better choices to hit at the top of the lineup. Like, Foles was the only choice they basically had, right? They
but
they
it's
have
one of those
better
things
options.
where you don't have better options when you believe in the guy. And I think that's where we are with Trea. They believe that he's going to turn this thing around.
I think they're blind when it comes to Trea Turner. I'm serious. They've let him play at that position for years. He can't play shortstop anymore at a high level. They bat him second. I think they have a blind spot, and I think you'll appreciate this one, because of the money they paid him.
Yeah,
they still think he's the player they paid for.
You know what?
He's not.
But here's the reality of baseball. Baseball, to me, is the most patient, impatient sport that out of all the professional sports. And the reason why I say that is this, that it's the longest – because of the games, but the ebb and flow of the season, you got to – I feel like in baseball you have to take it in short spurts. And to your point, Joe, he hasn't played well this year. That's a fact. But at there's still a section of the season where he could prove himself valuable.
Well, he could, and we all hope he does. I've stopped believing he's going to. One quick thing. I mean, they did drop him Topper in his first year here, because his first year was his worst year before this one, right? And now that was the struggle until the ovation, and he went crazy, right? But they did drop him in the order that year. He didn't get to hit 1 or 2 the whole year. They dropped him to 6, 7 when he was struggling. And his numbers then, it's pretty similar. His OPS at the end of July of his first year here was 673. It's 677 right now. So he was in a spot like this 3 years ago. They dropped him. He got hot. They put him back to the top, and we finished that season strong. I'm just saying there is precedent. I mean, they They've never moved him off a shortstop, so there's no precedent for that. But they have in the past dropped him in the lineup. I just feel like they have a total blind spot. 215-592-9494. We'll let you hear another idea for the lineup Scott Franzke had last time. We'll get that in a few minutes. First, let's get to some phone calls here. Will in the Northeast talking the Eagles and this offensive scheme. What's up, Will?
Dream team, how y'all doing today?
What's up, man?
Hey, Will.
Oh, right. Listen, I went to the practice last night, and man, that crowd was electrifying, man. Like, it was just, the energy was just so great, man. And like, I really enjoyed it. I love to see all the families out with their kids, and it was just beautiful, man. Beautiful atmosphere. But this is what I want to say about this offensive coordinator. My thing is this, right? We got to outthink our opponents and not overthink ourselves, right? Now, what I see with this team is every time we practice or, scrimmage or whatever, I saw that our run game is the most dominant thing, right? So let me ask you this real quick, Joe, and I want to get into something. Now,
Okay.
Do you think that if we run our way back to the Super Bowl once again and Jalen do what he has to do in order to get the wins, is that a problem?
It's not. It's not a problem. That would be great for us as fans, but I don't think that they would pay him if he did that, Will. Because then how do you, what did we really learn? We didn't learn that he could run the system. We learned that they could run the ball.
Okay, and let me just ask you this. Now, other than Josh Kelly and Patrick Mahomes,
Josh Kelly.
Nope.
what
Who's
other
Josh Kelly?
quarterback,
Who's Josh Kelly?
what quarterback will you put in this Eagles offense that will learn the system in one season and take it to the playoffs or the Super Bowl? Could you tell me one quarterback?
I don't know who that is, but I'm just going to give you a league example. I feel like we're in a spot now that's kind of similar to where Denver was a couple years ago. They had Russell Wilson, and they won 8 or 9 games, but they could see he wasn't working, and they dumped him, and they drafted Bo Nix in the first round. And the 2 years, his rookie year, they went to the playoffs. His second year, they went to the AFC Championship game. So I don't know. My guess is if it's not Jalen, they will draft a quarterback.
Okay, all right. Well, I just want to say this, man. Up for the offense, as far as the offense, man, if you got to look at what your team got. Y'all got 4 great, to me, they're great running backs, man. And what y'all need to do is wear the defense down, man. Ding and dunk. You dig what I'm saying? Let Jalen get a little feel. Stop trying to force him to do something so fast with this offense instead of letting him just, find his way and ease his way into this offense. So we can get deep throws and all that. You know what I'm saying? Like I think we putting too much emphasis on what Jalen needs to do and not what the team needs to do and not what the coordinator needs to do. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
I hear you. All right, Will, before he responds, give us your hottest take right now. What do you got?
All right, man. This is for the Phillies, man. Hey, listen, I really think they started slipping once they ace in the hole started slipping. Once my man Zack said, look, he's struggling a little bit, it kind of like, oh, man, our ace might be going down the hole again. We might be in trouble. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what the team is thinking. Hopefully not. But, I want to say this about the Phillies. Zack, Will, and all y'all guys, man. This is going to be the last season for all y'all guys, man. You know what I mean. But listen, this is going to be the last season for all you guys. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man.
All right, Will, we got you. All right. I'm not sure what his take was there. Did you pick it up?
Well,
who's his hottest take?
I couldn't.
Okay.
I couldn't.
Well, can I say this? Because I
think you had something to say about Jalen, right? You want to respond to something?
No, I got to say this, man, because this is not a criticism. This is just how I was raised. As a grown man, you can't make excuses for grown men, right? Jalen Hurts has been in the league for 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts has had a lot of success in this NFL. Just because Jalen Hurts has won a Super Bowl and been to 2 doesn't mean that Jalen Hurts gets to be treated different than any other quarterback. And what I'm talking about is this. Like Will said something that kind of triggered me a little bit, was give him time. Listen, man, you're not afforded the luxury of comfort, especially at that position, especially when you talk about the kind of money that's on the line.
Well, that's it. Yeah.
When you play that, and I know, I'm gonna keep it a beam. There's a lot of criticisms of Jalen Hurts that are veiled in certain things that we don't talk about on there. That's a fact. That's just how it is. It's been like that for the black quarterback in the league for years. But a lot of times that's not always the case. The common rule is this, in my opinion. If you're tasked to do a job, then you have to do that job. It was something that was said in the Hall of Fame speech by Drew Brees a few weeks ago when they talked about when he said he couldn't make a play because he couldn't see over the line. And the coach told him, you better figure it out.
That's your job.
That is your job. And sometimes I feel like we forget that football is a job. It's the sport that we love, but it's a job, and it's Jalen's job. And what Jalen's job is right now, because he has had so much success, and this is the reason why I believe in him, is because he's done it. And so he has to do it again. So you don't get that, he looks like my son, or listen, he has a job that he has to do, and in order for him, he has to be better at doing it, bottom line. Well, I believe he can do it. He's done it before, but we can't be making these excuses for no grown-ass men.
The other thing, and I think you were kind of going down this path, at least I heard it, it's a business.
Yeah.
And they have a salary cap. And the reason why this is different, I feel like we had to call Joe in the last hour, who's kind of understood, but I don't think he was really seeing it. They have to make big decisions, right? If Jalen Hurts was young and cheap, he'd be afforded more time, right? Because then you have a leeway.
You have to know your football. Look at it like this, people. Your football team is about to go through a transition.
Yeah.
Right.
It's already happening.
It's happening.
With Carter and Davis
before our eyes.
Yeah.
And y'all always want to give me heat about defense is a luxury, not a necessity.
Well, there's reason.
I'm gonna tie it into something that y'all can relate to because it's clear I live rent free in y'all head, for all these years. But the bottom line is this: they're gonna have to pay these defensive players. There's a good chance. Think about it like this, people. I'm gonna give you a broader spectrum. There's a good chance Zack Baun won't be here next year.
I agree.
You know why? Because you got Jeremiah Trotter Jr. and Jahad Campbell, two young linebackers that are under contract, that are cheap right now, that are looking like they're going to be players. Zack Baun becomes expendable because you know why? Making too much money. Think about it. I understand that for all of us this is sport or everything, but this is a business. And right now our quarterback is in need of some more money. Either he's going to get a financial apology, whatever it is, but the bottom line is you're going to have to pay your quarterback and you're going to have to pay them corners. And that money's got to come from somewhere.
Here's the best way I can frame you're saying, the way I interpret what you're saying. The Eagles have gotten too good to wait to figure out what Hurts is.
Yes.
Right? When he was young and cheap,
it was easy.
It was easy because he was cheap, right? So they could put all these players around him, and they could watch him try to grow, and he played.
And he had time. He had the luxury of time.
Yes. Now his time is running out to show them what he's going to be the next 3 or 4 or 5 years because they got to pay other people. And Hugh, you're right, and you say this all the time. The quarterback's the most important thing. So if they're sure he's good, and
then it's okay. They're going to pay.
Of course, and they should. And
we'll give him that financial apology.
I don't know about that, but if they're sure,
$80 million.
If they're sure he can execute this offense, pay him. Let's go.
Yeah,
we got
and that's the bottom line.
But if they're not sure, and that's why this scheme versus win is interesting to me. Then they got a big decision to make because they can't be unsure. Because he's too expensive to be unsure when you got to pay Cooper and Quinyon, and you're talking about maybe losing Baun. The Eagles have Howie's drafted almost too well for them to keep Jalen if they're unsure about him. So they got to know.
And think about it like this. The story of this training camp has been Jeremiah Trotter Jr. And we've been arguing back and forth about whether or not he should be a starter. You're not going to let that Jeremiah Trotter Jr., in my opinion, is going to be here for 2 reasons. He's legacy number 1, and he can play. Now you got to figure out how to put him on the field. Right. You got to figure out how to get him on the field.
All right, let's. We said we were talking about this. Hugh, I want to throw this in. I gave my Phillies lineup a few minutes ago. What I would do, I'm dropping Turner out of the 2 spot. Listen to this from Scott Franzke last night. He had another idea, and this would certainly shake things up for the Phillies lineup. Here's Scott last night.
Uniform for the Mariners. Here's a single into right center, and that is a 28-game on-base streak for Bryce Harper. And maybe he should lead off.
I don't think, if you say that too loud, you'll start getting people because there's been some talk about that.
Well,
certainly.
What's the problem?
He doesn't want to.
500 on base percentage.
He doesn't want to. I hear you.
Well, that was a fun little back and forth.
You know what I heard?
I love Scott had a take, and then Stock was like, hold on now. And Scott's like, what's the problem? It's a good idea.
Yeah, that was, because a lot of times Scott usually just kind of plays it down the middle. Even when he talks to us, you ask him questions, he's kind of play. That was the most, pointed thing that I've heard him say in a while. Like, why not?
Well, I mean, we've had this conversation in a lot of ways for a lot of years. But if you like, a lot of teams do this. They just put their best hitters at the top, like 1 and 2 and 3, their 3 best. So, however, if you're doing that with the Phillies, Harper, Schwarber, Harper, right? Like by far, they're the 2 best and most impactful guys. But yet the Phillies, for years, have sandwiched Turner in between, like crossing their fingers that Trea's just like those guys, even though he's not. It's not a crazy thought. I mean,
no, it's not, and it's funny because it feels like just listen to that cut and thinking about the ones he had a few weeks ago, when Painter was on the mound and he was struggling a little bit and he was talking about throwing fastball. Sounds like Scott getting a little frustrated. With the way things.
I think when you watch a team do the same thing over
and over again, it becomes a little frustrating.
You wonder why they don't try to pivot. And the Phillies have pivoted some things. I mean, we give them credit because they've shifted their whole defense around and tried to incorporate a guy like Arise, who they didn't have a player like that. So they've done some of it. But I just think they have a blind spot with Turner. I think it's to me, it comes back to they're trying to justify that they paid him all that money, and he's the guy that they thought he was. But the Harper thing, I wouldn't be mad at it. I doubt they'll do it. And I also thought there was some truth to what Stocker said. He didn't want to do it.
Yeah. I mean, there are some guys, and Bryce feels like one of them that's comfortable hitting where he's hitting.
Yes. Well, he always has kind of said that. And yeah. Now, at the same time, he has moved positions, so he's already shown some willingness, at least within this season, to do some different things. 215-592-94.